daughters, sisters, and wives. He says they're gonna change our lives. Be women, be girls. They'll make a better world. Invest in her. Invest in her. Invest in her. And now here's your host, Catherine Gray.
Hi, welcome to this week's episode of Invest in Her. I'm your host, Catherine Gray, the founder of She Angel Investors and co-founder of the She Angels Foundation, both designed to fund women. Today, I have on a special guest. She has created a healthy product that's in over 700 stores. It didn't exist before she created it. She found a need for it. I'm so excited to have on the founder of Rachel's Overnight Oats, Rachel Joseph. Hi, Rachel. Good morning.
Hi, Catherine. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here. And I just want to say I really admire what you're doing. I feel super empowered speaking with other women that want to support other women. And I think it's great what you're doing. So thank you for having me today.
Oh, you're so welcome. And, you inspire me. I mean, that's why I do the show. I am always so blown away by people that find that there's something that doesn't exist, and then they go create it and manufacture it and distribute it. And I know you're a one-man band, or one-woman band, I should say at this point. I just want to tell you, I had my Rachel's Overnight Oats for breakfast this morning. I love them. It's a great product, and I can't wait to talk about how and why you created it. But first, people always like to know, well, who is Rachel? And let's talk a little bit about that. You were born in Chicago, right?
Yes. So I was born and raised in Chicago. I moved out to California about going on 11 years ago, or I moved from Chicago to California about 11 years ago. And so my entire family, it still lives. I was the only one to leave the nest. And I think looking back on that and me actually leaving was probably one of the times in my life where I experienced the most amount of growth. I mean, I learned so much just about myself and about what I wanted to do with my life. And I think when you leave the nest, you really, when you get out on your own, you really get a chance to grow as a person. So I'm really excited that I had that opportunity. And now I'm here living in LA with my husband and my stepson. So it's been quite a journey. Looking back, I can't believe it's been 11 years, but yeah, I'm a Midwest girl.
Growing up in Chicago, did you grow up in an entrepreneurial family, or how did you, where did you get this idea to become an entrepreneur?
Oh, well, my dad was in business for himself. He was an entrepreneur. He had a business where he would do kind of more of a trades business where he would do painting and pressure washing, and had various things that he would do. My mom's a school teacher, so that's a little bit different, and so she was a stay-at-home mom most of our lives. But I think, I don't know, it's just something that I think I was just born with it. I'm constantly.
I do agree with you. I think it's in people's DNA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I definitely feel that way with myself, although I did have family that were entrepreneurs too. But, I think you're just kind of born with that independent vigor to create something, or maybe it's a calling and a purpose. I think we feel that calling, like, to do something that's going to help make the world a little better place. And, your new product, which is healthy and organic, does help make our health a little bit better, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And, that is always, I just kind of want to touch upon this because it just builds upon where I'm at today. So when I was going through college, I was studying business. However, a huge part of my passion in my life has always been health and fitness. And so I had been personal training certified. I had, all the certificates for training group fitness classes. And so I had some one-on-one clients, and I had been teaching group fitness classes all through college. And so I think just tying into what I'm doing today with the healthy food product, it has always been a part of who I am, just the healthy lifestyle, healthy living. And then to incorporate that into a business and actually doing something that's like good for you and helps other people is just, it's really motivated me to take the next step when I started my business, because I come from an accounting and finance background and real estate background, and nothing to do with the CPG or food space, outside of me just having that, the background in the health and fitness
Let me
industry.
stop you there 1 second and just say, having an accounting background and a business background is invaluable as an entrepreneur, because most people just have the ideas, but they don't have that knowledge of that side of the business, like their right brain, but not left brain. So that, I think, attributes to why you're successful, that you have that background is invaluable. A lot of people have to bring in a business partner to bring that piece of the puzzle, Yeah.
Yeah. I will say that has definitely, contributed to my organization and running the business as a whole, because, I have, with my accounting experience, I've been able to just utilize a program like QuickBooks. And I will say that if anybody out there is worried about using QuickBooks and don't have accounting experience, you really can self-learn that program. It's super easy to use. They have it set up to where it's very user friendly. And so that's just how I manage my own financials, with personally and with the business as well. And so that's something that if anyone's getting started, I definitely recommend using QuickBooks. That's
I just saw an
tip for the
ad.
day.
I just saw an ad the other day on TV about QuickBooks. They now have support. So even if, like you said, it's so easy, you can now call them and get tech support and stuff.
Yes.
Makes it
Yes,
even
you
easier.
can.
So I want to talk about the story of how and why you created this product. And I love that you're marrying your passion. So here's your passion for wellness and fitness being married to your ability to do accounting and business, and putting it into a product that you saw didn't exist in the market. And so I love the story you told me. Let's share that for a moment, about how you were making this concoction for your husband most nights, and you thought, wow, this is crazy that you have to get all these different ingredients and put them in, and it was so cumbersome and costly. And you thought, wow, wouldn't it be great if these were all already put into one pouch, and you could pick it up and mix and make it so simply. And that's what you did. I mean, believe me, if I can do it, anybody can do it, because I'm certainly not a cook, but I love the concept. So let's talk about, how and why you created Rachel's Overnight Oats.
So, great question. I'm super excited to share this story with you, because it all happened organically. No pun intended.
No pun
right?
intended.
So I was making different recipes at home. My husband, then fiance, was skipping breakfast, and the health conscious fitness person that I am was always, asking him, well, are you going to eat something for breakfast? You have to eat something for breakfast. And I decided I need to find something that he's going to like. So I heard this term overnight oats, and at the time it was completely new to me as well. And so I started Googling on it. I think I looked on Pinterest to see, what this whole overnight oats thing is about, because it still was a very relatively new term. And so I had found a couple different recipes, and I honestly tried them myself, and it didn't work out the first time. And I had gone to the store and grabbed a bunch of different oatmeals and thought, oh, well, I can just soak this and it'll be, great overnight oats. And so I was completely turned off by the result that I had gotten, because a lot of the other oats that are out there are made with a quick cooking oat. So it's very powdery and fine. And so you get a very different result when you soak that. Those oats are intended for just a 60-second hot steep, with some hot water, and you're ready to go. But overnight oats is where, you actually pair it with, an almond milk or a nut milk of some sort, and you soak it overnight. And so the ingredients absorb the liquid in there, and it creates this amazing texture. And so the first time, like I said, it was a complete failure trying to make overnight oats on my own. I wasn't giving up on the idea of it because I just had heard there were so many health benefits. It's really good for you. They say that, a soaking oatmeal makes it a little more easily digestible. And so there was all these great things about it. And so I'm like, you know what, I have to try this again. So I started using rolled oats in my recipes, and I was measuring out different ingredients like chia seed and hemp seed and flax, which all have, are very, very nutrition forward. They've got a lot of fiber and healthy omegas and just really good stuff for you. And so I was making these recipes, that I had created then on my own, a specific like concoction that I had made, and perfected it for the, after the 1,000th time I made it, because I was really making it for the both of us on a regular basis. And I reached a point where I was just tired of mixing out all the different ingredients, and then maybe I'd run out of something, or I couldn't find something at the store that I liked to pair with it. And so that led me to actually go look for an overnight oat product at the market, like, at the grocery store. And so I just had assumed that at my first visit to the store was like, oh, well, you can just grab any old cup of oatmeal and then you can soak it in its overnight oats. And like I had explained, a few minutes ago, that was a complete failure. It doesn't work the same way because they use those oats are intended for a specific application, which is the hot steep. And so I had gone back to the store, tried a bunch of stuff. Again, a complete failure trying to find an overnight oat mix. So everything out there is quick cooking. It's loaded with sugar, which was a huge red flag to me. I don't want anything with a bunch of added sugar in it.
I agree.
Then maybe it was gluten-free, maybe it wasn't, maybe it was organic, maybe it wasn't, but I could never get that combination of everything in one mix.
Right. So yours has no added sugar, all organic products, and it's gluten-free.
And it's gluten-free. Yes.
Love it.
Plus, we use superfoods, chia, hemp, and flax, combined with the organic gluten-free oatmeal as well. And so most products out there don't offer that unique combination of ingredients. And really, you get more fiber, more protein, a good amount of healthy, sustainable omegas in there. And when you eat this, you actually feel full for a really long time. And so this kind of solved a lot of problems in my life as well, because I was eating bars. Like I would grab bars all of the time. And most bars have, fillers of some sort. And even the processing of a bar, like the way they compress it down, it makes it so hard and so dense that it's not good for your body in the way that we process and digest things. And so not only did I was no longer having to eat bars, I was now eating something that was way better for me. And then also it keeps you full for a really long time. And my husband was healthy.
Yeah. And speaking of your husband, same with my wife. She would dash out the door and not eat. And I love that this is something, that I can make the night before and it's ready to go first thing in the morning. It's really delicious. I really love it. I'm a big oatmeal person, but now I love this better because I love the consistency. I love that it's all organic, gluten-free, healthy. I think it's ingenious. I love what you've done. I love that you saw there wasn't a product like this and you created it. I think that's so cool. And everybody doesn't know too, if you do come up with a product, there's so many moving facets to it that I'm so impressed that you've done. The packaging, the distribution, you're in over 700 stores, all on your own. And of course, now you're looking for a possible partnership with the cash infusion, raising some money so that you can expand it to even more stores. And I think there must be nutritional gurus out there that are saying, oh my gosh, I'd love to be a part of this, get on the ground floor of this product and help it to grow. And so I want to put that out there that, you're looking to raise $500,000 or more with the right partner, for the right cash infusion to help you scale it, because you are at that point of needing a team around you and scaling this, because it's such a great product. It should be in every store around the country. And more people are getting health conscious. They're going to want things that are organic and healthy, but also delicious. So I think you've got a winner there.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate that. It hasn't been an easy journey, I will say, starting from scratch, having zero experience in the CPG space and food space and starting a business.
Tell people what CPG means.
Consumer packaged goods. Yeah, consumer packaged goods. Consumer packaged goods.
Consumer packaged goods. I find when people are in a niche, they tend to reel off some acronyms and people are like, what does that mean?
Yeah,
I like them to learn from the show.
I was that very person a couple years ago. I said, what? CPG? What does that even mean? Right. And I, Googled it and I'm like, oh, well, that kind of makes sense. So but you don't know what you don't know.
Yes. If someone were out there and they have an idea for a food product, where would they start? Like, how did you design your packaging and how did you find your manufacturer and your distributor? Can you share some of that with us?
So I'm really glad that you're asking that question, because an extension of my brand now, I've recently started consulting to other new food entrepreneurs. So I would love to help other people with that. It's a little more complex than just explaining it on our call today, but I can touch upon a few things. It requires a significant amount of patience and research, especially when you're just getting started. You really want to identify who your market is and really hone in on your product, who your customer is, and what makes you different, like what makes that product different. Like I said, at the time, no one was doing overnight oats whatsoever. And I'm going to say this, not even Quaker was doing overnight oats. I launched before their product because they have an overnight oat cup that they sell. And so I was really the first doing it and not the me too. So find what it is that you want to create and hone in on those details. Like, you have to build it, and it takes a long time. When I started, it was literally in my own kitchen, mixing ingredients. I still remember my husband's face when a 50-pound bag of oatmeal showed up at the door, like this big sack, like I couldn't even carry it. He's like, what are you going to do with this? And I'm like, well, I'm going to mix and make batches of my oatmeal mix.
I love it.
And I did. And so that's how it all started. But it does take time to develop a product, and I don't recommend rushing into it. If anybody listening today wants to have a chat with me, we'll leave my contact information. I'd love to talk through it, because it is very, very difficult, and I would love to support someone else through the process. I didn't have a mentor or somebody guiding me along the way. And I will admit that there are things that I spent money on and wasted money on. There's a lot of time that I spent on certain things that I shouldn't have spent time on. And so it was a growing experience and a learning experience, but why would you want to spend more time or money than you have to? So if you're starting a food business, definitely call me, we'll chat, and I can fill you in on those details. But
and people can find you. People can find you at rachelsbrand.com, right?
So they can buy, so the food product, the Rachel's Overnight Oats, is sold on rachelsbrand.com. And then if they want to get started with a call, they can download, actually have a free worksheet at Start a Food Biz, that's B-I-Z, startafoodbiz.com. And so if they go to that URL, they can connect to me that way as well.
Oh, fantastic. I didn't know about that. That's awesome. I love that you want to help other people avoid the mistakes and costs that you incurred in your learning path and want to share it with other people. I love that.
Absolutely.
Once we're successful, it is about paying it forward. How can people find you on social media?
Okay, so on social media, our Instagram is at Rachel's Overnight Oats. I'm also, I think, LinkedIn. Facebook is also at Rachel's Overnight Oats. So I try to keep it consistent. Obviously, like once in a while, there's a URL or a name that somebody's already taken, but Rachel's Overnight Oats is pretty much how you can find me.
So people can buy your product online or they can buy it at some stores, right? Like I know I believe at the Whole Foods near us. You're in many of the Whole Foods, right?
So we're in about 100 Whole Foods locations, specifically in 2 regions. So Whole Foods, and this is one of those teaching points that I'd like to mention. Whole Foods is comprised of about 10 or 12 different regions across the US and in Canada. And you can launch in different regions, or you can try to launch in all regions at one time. And so you pitch your product, you submit your samples and your sales deck to Whole Foods, and they say, okay, well, we like this product, we want to bring it in. And so I launched in the Northeast region just over a year ago. And so it's New York, New Jersey, Connecticut. So any of the Whole Food stores there, we are on shelf. And then just as of this January, we launched in another Whole Foods region in the Southwest. So that's like Texas, Louisiana, Oklahoma. So a couple of the southern states. And then on a more regional scale, we're in stores primarily here in California, like Rayleigh's, which is in Northern California, Lucky's, which is in Northern California, Vaughn's Pavilions, which is pretty much spread throughout California as well. And then if you are in the Midwest, of course, I came back to my Midwest roots. You can look for us in Jewel. And how they place products, we might not always be just in the oatmeal section or in like the cereal aisle. Sometimes stores have a gluten-free section. And so you really kind of have to hunt sometimes. And that's one of those things, like with creating a food product, there are hundreds of thousands of millions of different products on the shelf. Like, what can you do to make your product pop off the shelf? And we are probably in the gluten-free section in some spaces, and then in the oatmeal section in others.
And if you're not in a local store, they can buy it online at Rachel's brand.
Correct.
Great. So anybody can access it anywhere. I know you have to be really passionate about what you're doing in order to do something like this, because it is a big undertaking. But I think learning from someone who's done it before makes perfect sense. Now, you're looking to raise some funds because in order to scale a business in this particular niche, it's quite financially intensive to go into these zones, right, around the country. Because what people don't understand that you shared with me, and I'm glad you enlightened me on it, is when you have a product, you have to give a certain amount of complementary product to each of the stores for them to promote it. Is that correct?
Yes. So typically when you launch in a store, I'll use just Whole Foods as an example, because this is one of the stores that has this expectation. When they send you, or when you go and you're filling out that initial paperwork, it says right on there, free fill is required. And so what that means is you have to fill, like if they commit to you and say, we'll carry your product in 50 stores or 100 stores or whatever, then however many stores they're going to carry you in, you are required to send them a free case of each product that you're launching. So you can see how that adds up very quickly. Mm-hmm. And mind you, I'm not selling directly to Whole Foods. I'm selling to a distributor, and then the distributor sells to Whole Foods. And so that cost can add up pretty quickly.
And you have how many products? I know you have the plain, the apple cinnamon, and tell me.
And a cinnamon raisin. Yes.
So
three flavors in production. Yes.
Fantastic. Did you start with one flavor and then expand?
So I did in the very beginning. I had one flavor. The cinnamon raisin was kind of like the poster child. And then I had experimented with a vanilla flavor. However, the cost of vanilla had started to just skyrocket at the time. And so that was one of those business decisions. It was a tough decision because, the concept was cool. The flavor was great. But from a financial standpoint, when you're getting started, you really have to be mindful about what you're spending money on. And to know, like, well, what is that going to end up on the shelf, and at what price is somebody willing to pay for that product? And so, yeah, the cinnamon raisin was kind of the poster child when I first started. And then the original really is now leading the way. The original is comprised of 4 ingredients. You've got oats, chia, hemp, and flax. And that seems to be the best seller. And I think it's because people like to put their own twist on it. They like to create their own flavors and, their own recipes, but they like that all of those superfoods are packed into one bag, and it's not just oatmeal. It's so much more. It's like a superfood blend. And so they can kind of play with it and have fun. And I have several loyal consumers that eat traditional oatmeal, several that like overnight oats, some that like a combination of both. So what's great is that you can actually eat them like traditional oatmeal and heat them up in the microwave or on the stovetop as well, which is great. Because like I mentioned before about the other products that are out there, they're usually only intended for that hot steep. And so when you soak them, you don't get the same kind of results.
Right.
But ours, you can actually, you can make it both ways, which is great.
Yeah, I love that. And I personally love the original. I like to put fruit on it, and I like to make it the night before and sit it overnight and have it cold in the morning. In fact, I love it so much. I was telling my business partner at She Angels Foundation this morning about it. And she said, "Oh my God, my daughter loves overnight oats. I'm going to get it." And so, anybody I tell about it seems to be really enthralled with it because, we live in a healthy community here in LA, and I think it's the perfect market for it. But all over the country, people are going to be enjoying it. And I'm so happy to be talking to you about it. Want to put a platform out there to help you grow it, both with consumers and investors. And like I said before, you are looking for an investor, the right person that might bring something to the table besides the capital to help you scale this and grow it, because it's a great, unique product. And I am just really thrilled to have you on, and just think that you have just done something amazing here. And I can't wait to see you soar.
Thank you so much, Catherine. It means so much to me hearing you say all that. And really, I appreciate more so than anything the support, because, I will say as a solopreneur, it gets really lonely, and there's been days where it's been tough, and a lot of people don't talk about the tough days or the rough days, or how they feel kind of isolated when you're an entrepreneur. You sometimes wear 15 different hats and you work late hours, and it's tough. Just, I think going into business for yourself is tough, but surrounding yourself with the right people and a network and, other women and people that lift you up, I think it's extremely amazing.
Well, you know what? I see a vision for you. I see an amazing team now around you and scaling this and growing it, because it's a great product. And not only should it be in the US, but it should be global. And I see that for you. And so we're going to keep following you and cheering you on. Rachel, thank you so much for being on the show. I want everybody to visit rachelsbrand.com to get Rachel's overnight oats. Try them out. You'll be so happy you did. And thank you, Rachel, for what you're doing. Thanks for being on the show. Everybody, remember to invest in her and make it a great week. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks, Rachel.
Thank you so much, Catherine.
Our theme music was created and produced by Lindsay Tomasic.